New moon in Cancer on July 5th. Welcome, everybody. We're going to be talking about the new moon today on this video. So come on, let's break it all down. Very exciting time. Let's go. So the new moon in Cancer is happening at 14 degrees in Cancer. And this just happens to be exactly conjunct just 2 minutes away from the fixed star Sirius. Now, this is a pretty big deal, okay? Being in Cancer season now, we're finally starting to see the energy spread out more balanced and evenly across the zodiac. So we're really integrating and coming into this new, 2.0 version of ourselves with all this massive amounts of change going on. But Sirius is known as the brightest star in the sky. And it just so happens that the United States sun is right here as well. Now, 250 years ago, Sirius was at 13 degrees. Now it's at 14. But and whenever it comes down to aspects with fixed stars, they're going to be really tight. And this one, because it's literally 14 degrees 24 minutes, where the new moon is at 14 degrees 23 minutes, it's safe to say that this is kind of a bullseye energy. And what that means is that there's a lot of illumination going on collectively, particularly in the United States, because as this new moon is hitting the sun, which so the sun and moon is conjunct to the natal sun of the United States, and it's connected to Sirius. This is really looking at getting inspired to finally stand up for all the things that we see going wrong in the United States, gaining some, like, I don't want to say pride, but this is gaining some inspiration for all the things that we've been through and finally kind of, saying to ourselves, all right, I want to make a stand. And this isn't just like as an American, right? This is about just as a member of humanity. And also as the CEO of being in our own life, meaning that there's this deep sense of, all right, what do I have to get out of my life to fully embrace and stand in extreme ownership and responsibility of what I want my life to look like. So a lot of us, most people, there's some space, dissonance, if you will, between where we're at in life and where we want to be. Of course, this is a major transitioning time, right? So we are all collectively coming into a time where we're going to be able to have that heart mind coherence, and we're going to have a life. We have the potential to have a life where it's like, okay, all areas of my life are actually in fairly good balance. I'm making good money. I have a good, healthy relationship with the wife and kids. We have things. We have a good social circle. We have good influence and interactions in society. Like, we're creating win-win scenarios. We're helping people. We're not hurting them. All these things are going to start to become much more dominant. And this new moon is sort of like birthing this potential. It's planting a seed of this growth factor in our consciousness, and it's turning up the dial on that part of our intuitive guidance. Now, this sun and moon is square the nodes, which it's 4 degrees beyond the nodes. And remember, we're in the middle of two full moons of Capricorn. So with the full moons and the new moons happening right in between or square to the nodes, this is, again, crossing that Rubicon this month into this new place. Now, where there is a connecting to this inner version of ourselves, this inner voice, this inner compassionate nature is becoming more like we need to rely on that version of us more so now than ever before. Because even though it's opening us up to be able to be more vulnerable with ourselves, and again, this is also, we have Venus at 22 degrees here, which is, the second new moon that's been conjunct to Venus. It's a little bit farther away, but Venus loves being in Cancer. It's all about connecting to our deeper, more emotional, where we feel at home within ourselves, and sharing that and out in the world at a newer and deeper level, especially as it as it relates to how we go out into the world or how we connect to society at large. Really, a lot of us, light workers, star seeds and such, have been in a bit of a hermit phase or mode the last few years with everything going on because there's been this just sheer massive amount of spiritual growth and a lot of behind the scenes stuff as we're clearing out these ascension symptoms and these growth and learning processes. I feel that it's going to start to get clearer. So it's not necessarily going to be easier per se, but there's going to be more of a clarity, and that clarity is going to alleviate a lot of confusion um, or indecisiveness. And that clarity leading to more decisiveness in and of itself is going to relieve a massive amount of stress. Now, with that being said, there's other newer stressors that are coming in to really boot us into action. So as we're coming into this feeling place, this might be a good time to just really sit back, be present and aware and clear about gratitude for all the things that have been going good or right in your life, and setting that precedence for focusing more on filling our own cup while supporting others, right? We're all starting to realize now that, hey, this I can't do all these things for other people, especially people pleasers out there, right? That are just doing, 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 going, going, going. You're breaking your back, and for what? You're getting to a point now where it's like I literally like my back is broken. I can't function with it. So the universe is going to either force you to take some time to chill and recuperate and recover, um, or you can keep on trying to fight it, but you're not going to win at this point. The universe is just gonna batter you down, and this is especially true if you are lying to yourself intuitively. Like say for example, you drink alcohol a lot. Well, alcohol is a very negative vibration, right? So if you're say you're going out or you're mixing alcohol consumption with healing work. All right, this is just one of many possible examples, but alcohol is ruled by algol, which is right where Uranus is right now, right? So Uranus is the great awakener, and we have Mars coming up to conjunct that energy. And when it does, it's not going to happen here for another 10 days, but it's very close. So it's bringing to the surface. And when I say bring to the surface, there is a process of karmic clearing right now, where if you are lying to yourself, right? Say, give the example of, if you like to drink. Now, even if you're not so quote unquote alcoholic, if you like just habitually naturally go out and you're drinking, you're having fun, but like you're pulling tarot cards, or you're like a reader or something like that. Um, you're going to get more and more confidence in doing that until Mars connects with Uranus on Algol, and then when that happens, boom, some massive karmic lesson is going to hit you as hard as it needs to hit you in the face to show you, hey, this is not the way, right? So a lot of people, as we go through this process, get sort of almost put in themselves like a trance-like state as they're going into these karmic lessons, right? Like getting into a relationship where, like there are red flags there, but you just bypass the red flag. You can't bypass the red flags anymore. All right. Now everybody has their own level or threshold to how bad they have to suffer in order to learn a lesson, and the universe knows that. God knows that better than anyone. So this is where it's unique to each person's experience and such. Um, but I can say, like, if you are struggling with, uh, you know, escapism, Pisces is all about escapism, addiction, and like delusion, illusion, and uh, Neptune is at 29 degrees of Pisces, and it just went retrograde at 29 degrees 55 minutes. So Saturn and Neptune in Pisces are both in its most powerful place right now. And as it's getting ready to go retrograde, or rather, they are retrograde now, but the energy is still incredibly powerful. We're at the height of this energy where it can be disorienting. It can't, like, the delusion will become so delusional that you think the delusion is your actual reality until that bubble bursts, because when both these planets go retrograde, when they were direct, you were moving into the future energetically and karmically speaking, right? So whatever actions that you were taking, now that it's retrograde, whatever karmic lesson that your soul needs to learn is going to learn that in this retrograde season. So we could see a lot of things for a lot of people getting worse before they get better. Okay. The good thing is, though, is that this is drawing out, especially when it comes to addiction or escapism. Those two things are like Pisces, like neon sign. All right. So you've been being tested. All right. This last 9 months. And now that Neptune and Saturn both have gone retrograde right about the same time, Saturn is right at the very end of its second decan, which is like, the good major chunk of lessons and energy with Saturn, learning in the Pisces area. But with Neptune being at 29 degrees, this is like, Neptune rules Pisces. This is really the leader of the entire chart. Okay. So all the other energies that are going on here are going to support the need to learn the Piscean or the Neptunian lesson here. All right, which is, the greatest energy about this is self-deceit through escapism, through propaganda, through, all the shit that we see that's out there, happening in the world right now. This is really, this energy here is a jump off point saying, all right, now you're going to learn a lesson of how you've been lying to yourself and how you've been running away and how you've been escaping so that we can bring you fully into your heart. You can see the deepest part of the truth, and you will have to, whatever level of a tower moment you manifest for that is gonna have to happen, because you need to grow now. The lower vibrations can no longer be sustained because the energy and frequency is raising so quickly. And Jupiter is also accelerating this in the mind, because it's like Jupiter is lighting a fire under our ass saying, hey, you have a purpose, you have a mission, you need to get this done, you need to figure it out, you need to go, go, go. And it's like, and Mars coming up to Uranus is like unexpected. The first thing that comes to my mind is like, being in Iraq and, on a patrol and, an IED goes off somewhere. What happens at that point? A lot of it is instinctual, right? You have to be able to slow things down in your mind. You have to be able to navigate, go to your training. What is your purpose? What is your mission? If you don't have structure that's created, the training to help to navigate your own process, then you're going to be swept up by the external processes in life and brought down rabbit holes that pull you away from your mission. Okay. All this work up until this point, definitely for the last year. Okay. But, I feel even longer than that. There's been layers of activations, endings, and new beginnings, right? But the real pop off point here is going to be with Mars conjunct Uranus. And when that happens, which is just 10 days after this new moon, it's saying, all right, like the learning, the processing is now over. Now here's the final exam. Here's where all, like, going through obstacle course. What are you going to do when this happens? What are you going to do when that happens? Have you been doing the training? This is going to show us where you've been successfully doing the training and where you have been slacking or lacking or overgiving, or whatever unhealthy boundary that you might have is going to rear its head. Now, when Pluto moves back into Capricorn in September as well, this next full moon that we have is conjunct Pluto. So we're setting the stage to completely irrigate the old foundation, clean out all the cobwebs, and set up this new, foundation of like pouring new concrete, getting rid of any possible mold, and making sure everything's even. We have to have all the details laid out, mapped out, figured out, so that we can create this new world, this new earth from this new foundation. And the old yucky stuff cannot come with us to this foundation. So we are in a very, very karmic time this month of shifts, of moving into new directions. And whenever there is a massive amount of karmic energy, and I've learned this through going through many layers and many, learned lessons and experiences, expect, like, you have to be present with every decision that you make right now. Because if you're not, you're going to miss the intuitive signs of the universe especially if you're in this tunnel vision, that's really, really left brain dominant, which Jupiter is kind of bringing up and about. This is where, like, Jupiter and Gemini now is teaching us how to recalibrate, working the left brain with the right brain and accepting the discomfort of our imbalances, of our imperfections, because our weirdness is our superpower, and not running back to the past, not running back to any bad habits, not stepping in, to places that we've been before. This is stepping into a new place, or maybe a culmination of things that we've been building up and working on. It is now ready to move forward. All right. Right. And at this point, we have Hygeia at 29 degrees of Aries, really, really deeply healing the wounded identity of the collective. All right. Now there's a fine line between accepting yourself and people and society for what it is, how they are. And this is where the darkness has gotten really good at manipulating people. There's a fine line between that and self-acceptance and healing and forgiveness within the self and for others, and to be able to step in a healthy way out back into the world and work with people, without giving your power away. But that's really what we're all doing right now. And we're like, whatever lack that you're feeling, we're all, whether it's financial lack, whether it's lack in love or relationships. If it's a relationship, why just can't I meet somebody that's good? Why does things always turn out shitty? And then, saying, fuck this, like, I hate all men, I hate all women, and I'm never going to talk to them again, right? Or I'm just going to, like, it could be any that sort of, I give up, this is stupid, this sucks, I just want it to be easy or over with, or I don't want to deal with it. Nah, that ain't gonna work. This energy here is saying, look, what is it that you are still avoiding about this part of you that is holding you back from having everything that you wanted? So if you've had a lot of bad relationships, but you really just naturally deep in your core really want a healthy relationship, but you feel that it's impossible, maybe it's time that you go do some work with a relationship therapist, or like, go explore some ways that you can really dive into the research of what relationships are all about, the dynamics of human consciousness. And through doing that inner work and study, that will show you at some point what it is about you that's been attracting these dysfunctional situations. But if you're running away from it or avoiding it, or just wanting that dopamine hit because you feel so shitty all the time, and you just feel like you can't handle it, well, you need to learn to handle it. And this energy that the universe is saying right now, especially with the serious energy, is saying, hey, you have it all right here. You have the ability, you have the resources, you have the tools, you have, everything in your life right now is here and meant to teach you this very specific lesson that you're learning. But you got to get out of your own way in this one very specific thing. And Neptune and Saturn in Pisces is just like, it's throwing it right in your face. You can't escape it, but you keep trying to escape it. And whatever escapist methods are just going to bring you more shame, more guilt, more feeling betrayed, more of the things that you feel because you're running away from yourself in regards to it. Okay, now, Cancer's, MO is they create a very hard shell around them when they feel betrayed or when they feel hurt, right? They don't want to be vulnerable, but at the same time, all they want to be is vulnerable, right? But they have to learn how to feel safe within them. So there's a lot of emotional dynamics, but this is really, emotional intelligence, right? EI is very, very important. And as we do navigate that and trust this process, right, we're going to learn who we are along the way. We have to let go of expectations of thinking that we know the answer, because if we did, we wouldn't be in this place. All right. Now, the answer, I feel, is going to be fully processed by November 16th to the 20th, right? Right. When the next eclipse season starts, and when Pluto comes back into Aquarius for the final time. That is when everything is fully cleared out. But this new moon is bringing enlightenment within us to see what we have to do and take action upon in the direction of the things that scare us, but know that we have to go into this to learn whatever it is that we need to learn. Okay, so I hope this helps. If this resonates, please like, share, and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. If you'd like a reading from me, or if you'd like to see what other miraculous wizardry kind of like stuff I do, please go to my website, optimizinghuman.com. I'd love to work one-on-one with you. And other than that, I hope you have a beautiful 4th of July and new moon in Cancer on Sirius. I hope.